A lot of people want to start the home buying process and they're not sure exactly how to start. So I'm sitting here today with Joey Cummings, a mortgage lender, and we're going to have just a simple conversation to answer a lot of questions that a lot of people like you may have
Sure.
about the home buying process. So Joey, someone decides that they are ready to start the home buying process. What's normally the first thing that you suggest?
Well, when they're ready to start the home buying process, the first thing I suggest is that they complete my application and allow me to pull their credit and analyze their credit profile, their debt to income ratio, and their assets, which is how much money they have saved.
Okay.
That's the first step.
And would you consider that kind of like a pre-approval process or?
Yeah, I would say it's a pre-qualification process that allows me to analyze and see if they are actually ready to move forward.
Okay. So, what would you tell someone if they think they have to have like the perfect credit score in order to even start the process?
Oh, yeah. In life, no one is perfect, and your credit score does not have to be perfect either. Sometimes people think they have to wait till it's perfect, but that's not the case. Oftentimes, we can get you going and get you in the house quicker than most people think or realize.
Absolutely. And when it comes to things like job changes or income changes, how does that impact the process?
Job changes can impact the process, and the income can impact the process. The biggest thing is if we're switching from W-2 employed borrower to a self-employed, or from a self-employed borrower to a W-2 employed borrower. But I can analyze all of that and walk the borrower through,
Okay, cool.
the differences.
So, speaking of differences, there are a lot of home loans out there, or there's FHA, there's USDA, there's VA. What's an easy and kind of straightforward way that people can know what's right for them?
Right. I look at the loan products like a college scholarship.
Okay.
And so when you're applying for college and you want to get a scholarship, um, each scholarship has different guidelines. So you may not be eligible for a basketball scholarship if you've never played basketball.
That makes
So then
sense.
you have to look at a scholarship that fits your criteria.
Absolutely.
The same is so for the loan products. All of the loan products have their different sets of rules and guidelines. So what I like to do is look at the file in total
Okay.
to see what dynamics that borrower has best fits what product.
What about down payment assistance programs? Like, what are some good down payment assistance programs that can help people, especially first time home buyers, with getting
Yeah.
into a home?
Yes, down payment assistance programs are out there. Oftentimes, the general consumer thinks that down payment assistance is a grant or it's free money,
Hmm.
but in essence, it really is considered a loan, a second mortgage. And people don't think, or they think that it's a grant or free money because there's no expectation
Right.
with those programs of a payment in some cases.
Okay.
But it is actually a second mortgage. But each of the down payment assistance programs have their different sets of rules and guidelines as well. So we have to make sure that we're qualified and eligible. Some of those criteria could be credit score
Hmm.
or debt to income ratio restrictions or income restrictions or income limits. But there are programs out there, and I do down payment assistance programs on a regular.
Okay. Speaking of down payments, most buyers don't realize that a down payment and closing costs are two separate things.
Right.
Can you explain what closing costs include, what buyers should expect, and how we can help them with managing those costs?
Yeah, sure. Your down payment is actually your investment in the transaction,
Okay.
because years ago when they designed it, they realized that when people put or invest their own skin, they're less likely to default because you feel more committed. So
Hmm.
that's your down payment. Your closing cost covers the overhead of everyone that will work your loan, including the attorney.
Okay.
And the closing costs are the responsibility of the buyer. If the seller chooses to contribute, then you can apply their contribution to closing costs. But that's closing costs. The other thing that makes up what I call your cash to close,
Hmm.
which incorporates down payment, closing costs, and prepaids. The other thing is prepaids, which is where we collect the upfront money
Hmm.
and put it in a little bank, if you will, called escrow, so that your tax and your homeowner's insurance can be paid on your behalf annually. So when I talk to my borrowers about their cash to close, I learned years ago not to just say down payment, because
Right.
then people truly only thought they had down payment. But
Exactly.
it's your cash to close, which consists of down payment, closing costs, and prepaids.
Okay. So let's say we're under contract. The next phase, of course, is underwriting. And that's what a lot of people don't see what's going on in the background. Can you tell us a little bit about what's actually happening during the underwriting process?
Sure. What I tell people is that when you're purchasing a home, you may only see me, the loan officer, but behind me are a bunch of fingers and toes working on your behalf. So it's almost like a play. You go to the play, you see the performers on stage, but what about the makeup artist? What about the person that's pulling and opening the curtains?
That's a good analogy.
Thank you. The underwriter is the person that will make the decision on your loan. They're
Okay.
the only person that has the ability to approve or deny. So they're like the police, if you will, on behalf of the bank to ensure that the borrower is eligible to pay the funds back. So the underwriter is someone the general borrower will never be able to talk to. So I am, if you will, the buyer's voice. If the underwriter has a question, they'll
Okay.
call me about the file. And so the underwriter really has to, again, more carefully look at all the guidelines to make sure the borrower is eligible in every way. So essentially,
Hmm.
that's part of what's going on through the process.
And what are some things that buyers can do to help that part of the process go smoothly?
Just have a willing spirit to listen. Um, get me the documents when I ask, and in a timely manner, and just be flexible and open minded. I think sometimes people they want it right away.
Hmm.
Our society is a right now
It
society,
is.
but with the mortgage process, it's a conservative and very streamlined process.
Okay.
So the buyer, the general consumer, can't think about the process in their mind's eye because it will never make sense.
Right. Right.
So those are some things that I think if the buyer does will help the process be more smooth.
Absolutely. So, for anyone who's feeling nervous or feeling overwhelmed about starting this home ownership process, what's some advice that you would give them?
The advice I would give you is to not be fearful and live in fear,
Mm,
because fear will paralyze you. And what I notice when my customers are very fearful, they almost begin to kind of suffocate,
oh,
and
yeah.
they want to speak to you all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that gets in the way of actually being able to work a file.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say you have to release yourself from the fear, and just trust the process. and
Hmm.
and I think the hardest thing with fear and the customers is they don't know me, the loan
Right.
officer, and so and they don't really trust.
Hmm.
And most times people like to control, so it's hard giving up that control.
Absolutely.
But
Let the process be the process. You
yeah,
have to let the process be the process.
right.
So, Joey, if anyone's interested in connecting with you or asking you any questions, how can the people reach you?
Yeah, they can give me a call or shoot me a text message at 706-993-8253. I am happy to schedule a phone consultation and discuss, where you are and if you're ready to buy.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys heard it here first from the mortgage lender. If you have any questions, connect with her. And of course, you cannot spell home without me. So connect with me and we can work together. It's a whole team process. It's a collaborative effort to make sure that we get you into a home.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
I really appreciate you doing that
Yes,
for me.
yes,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.